Welcome to Business Uncomplicated. Today's guest has been in the trenches of learning design for well over a decade, helping organizations figure out how to train their people, not just check a compliance box. Cam Brewer is the CEO and founder of Key Learning, a design studio that focuses on building courses, designing e-learning modules, producing instructional videos, and working hands-on with companies to embed real learning into how they operate. What I love about Cam's background is he's not just a theorist, he's a practitioner. He knows what it takes to tell a story and how to engage an audience. He and his team are focused on the human in the story and how to deliver the best learning experience that engages the individual and maximizes the outcome for companies. All of us, he's navigating what AI means for his craft that he's spent years mastering. So today, we're going to dig into the big questions. How should organizations be thinking about learning in this new era? How do you upskill a workforce when the technology and the skills keep on changing? And what does it mean to be a learning professional when AI seems to be generating content in seconds? These questions and much more will be discussed today. We welcome Cam to the show and welcome you to join us. Cam, welcome to Business Uncomplicated. How are you doing today?
Doing great. It's good to be here. Thanks for the invite.
It's great to have you.
Well, we're excited to have you. There's a lot going on in this space, and I know you have a lot of wisdom to impart upon us and all our listeners. So we want to kind of jump into, let's start with a little bit about your background. Tell us a little bit about Key Learning, your mission, what you hope to accomplish in this life with it.
Yeah, I love that question. Yeah, a little bit about me. I got into the L&D space when I was about 22, and I was actually studying business. I kind of grew up always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to be, my grandpa was an entrepreneur, and I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to go start businesses and create a brand. And, I'm the type of person who likes to get people together to go do good things and whatever. And I was going to school, studying business. I was working at a credit union, and I was renting out my brother's basement and basement apartment, and he was married and had kids and stuff. He got really into 3D animation. He wanted to go work for Pixar, and but he was working for a company, and he had kind of started the Carbonated Labs. It was this creative agency, kind of on the side. It was corporate handcuffs. He was married and couldn't really take risk, and so one time he got this big project with HP, and it was just to clean up this PowerPoint. And he's like, that paid really well. And that was really cool. And it was graphic design stuff. And I kind of helped out a little bit. And he got into this instructional design world. And I stumbled into it that way, basically. And I was like, oh, I like this because I love watching people have these aha moments. And that's one thing that I love about instructional design. And I love the creative aspect. I love the art. I love we were just talking about that painting behind you, right? But just communication in general. And, but anyways, yeah, I just, over the years have just scaled and grown that. Our team been doing it now for 14 or so years. We're a big team of instructional designers, e-learning developers, multimedia gurus. And really we have these two arms of business. We have this learning content creation side, and then this marketing promotional content creation. And we've just recently started actually even doing marketing campaigns for businesses as well. So we might spin up a whole other name for that arm, but our services are pretty wide, I guess, but mostly in the L&D and then marketing, multimedia design creation stuff.
Well, as people who've worked with you, I can say your team is amazing.
Thank you.
It was
you too.
really, really fun working with you guys when we did the project. And
thank you. Appreciate that.
I agree. I think that the cool thing about your firm is that multi-dimensional aspect, like the instructional design, but the deep kind of creative piece. And it's an interesting field for sure, because there are few people have the creative muscle, but there are few people who ever get to exercise that creative muscle,
Yeah.
And I'm somebody who loves PowerPoints and make the story. Andy will say I'm too verbose. She likes more pictures. She's more of the what is it?
Picture tells 1,000 words.
Well, right, but that was the CEO of Apple, who was Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
You're like, say less, show pictures.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Less is more, right? And kind
Yeah.
of,
right.
I'll send you over his next deck and you'll be like, I get it now.
It's not that bad.
No, you're pretty good. You've been complimented on that
yeah.
before.
So
I was gonna say there, Rich, you had asked sort of our mission with our company, right? And I'll just briefly say that, and it kind of leads into, I think maybe what this discussion where it could go is I served a mission, okay, for like 2 years, and we went out and just like served people and like really went out and tried to just just give service to people. And that part of that was pretty foundational. It's like just the human aspect. We love humans. So and that's why we love business actually is, we feel that by supporting our clients in their business objectives, we're kind of people, pull them out of poverty and really, provide just goods and services to people. And so we love to see businesses thrive. And so just wanted to say that because it might lead into some of these other
Well,
things
and
we're
that
maybe
that
talking about.
learning element,
yes.
it is, when you are going through, you and I've talked about, when you are going through a transformation and you have people who need to do something anyway, you are sitting in the depths of, I don't understand where we're going. I don't see the direction. I bought off on this. Did I make the worst mistake of my life? Is my career threatened by this? Like, there
But
is
it
a
is,
lot
yeah,
to that learning that just is, the emotional aspect. Yeah, you can
totally.
learn a system, you can learn a new process, but it's the human side of that learning that is make or break for a lot of big projects a lot of the
Totally.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very connected to the human,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, and I think we're going to get into the AI discussion, of course, because you can't not have a podcast about business without talking about that topic. But I think the other piece that is the connection that we've been having a lot of conversations about it in terms of like this whole voyage into AI is that human aspect, human in the loop, human out of the loop. It's
We say human.
human.
Yeah. Anyway, go on.
It's my Boston, but it's important to note because instructional design, I mean, if we think about it back years ago, it was in-person training. It
Mhm.
was people in the office. It was that human. And then as it's evolved, it has evolved to e-learning, right? Micro learning. So we want to talk about all that. Now in the age of AI, is it becoming even more so devoid of the human experience, which based on your mission, it's kind of conflicting. How do you grow your business in this age of technology when you want to be with that human, but they're like,
Yeah,
you don't need to be. So
totally.
I guess let's take a step back and talk about that evolution. I mean, you've
Yeah.
been doing this for 14 years. Was it, as I said, like instructional and it's kind of moved, and how have you seen that migration?
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I think like even pre-COVID, a lot of companies have known we should really automate some of our training and there's kind of this resistance because it's sort of one of those things where it's detail-oriented work to kind of create or traditionally has been where to lay down an actual e-learning or to come up with like a program that's sort of asynchronous, meaning doesn't require a person, right? It's just you can self-pace do it. To do that, there's a lot of architecture, there's a lot of thought that has to go into that. And I mean, even in the industry, prove your worth, with e-learning and stuff like that. But people know that it's there. But pre-COVID, I think a lot of businesses have been, yeah, we really need to do this. We have to do this. And a lot of them were on the edge. Gosh, dang it, we really need to do this. The ones that they've been able to scale and grow. And then COVID really kind of pushed everybody off the deep end of the pool, and they were like, okay, we got to jump in. So COVID was actually really great for us to take market share and build those relationships. But then everybody kind of had to quickly say, what do we do now? We got to we got to adjust a whole bunch of different things to be all online. Even virtual instructor led training, like in a synchronous environment, we do a lot of that as well, where it's just training over Zoom or Teams, things like that, right? They quickly were like, oh crap, we need an infrastructure to do all of that. And so that has helped, I think, even more so normalize it now. Even people going back to work, I think a lot of companies are still, it's still been pretty good since COVID, at least for us. And so the e-learning side of things, how it's evolved now, it's there's really some great tools out there to where we can make it easy and facilitate it to where we can really be quick with a lot of this stuff. And, you have easy ways to capture people's brains now. Loom, you have transcripts, Chat GPT quickly, cut through a lot of the uh, um, what we call them like knowledge transfers, right? Where we'll go interview a subject matter expert, we'll take that and take, ask the right questions and kind of pull that knowledge from them, and then we'll kind of architect a learning experience around what they need to teach and break it down and chunk it up. AI has really helped automate that very quickly, and that's just been a huge blessing. So, I mean, I could go on and on about different tools that we're using and things, but it's really, really sped things up a lot, and so it's exciting in that way.
Yeah. I'm curious with that because obviously not everybody is using AI now.
Mhm.
And there is a skill gap that I think comes up with that. How much are you seeing that change with your clients? That does it reduce the need or does it increase the need as people think, oh, AI will take care of this. It'll give me the step by step.
Yeah.
Claude is going to give me
Right.
step one, step two, step three. All I have to do is tell them which platform I'm working with and what I'm
Yes.
trying to do with it.
Yeah. Well, it's really funny because I feel like the conversation that we're having right now, right? AI, and you're joking at the beginning. You can't have a podcast now without talking about AI. And it's true. At the beginning, when Chat GPT came out, we were, whoa, what is this going to do to us? You know what I mean? This is a lot of that structuring and a lot of that thought. But as we've served, I don't know, we've served so many different clients in the past few years. It's really interesting to kind of see how things going to be happening or what is happening with it. Thinking 5 years out, even or so. And one thing is it hasn't drastically changed things all at once. Kind of what you guys are talking about as far as adoption of these things. And there's still this lag, like this slack in the line of there's this disruptor that's coming through AI, and then there's this time that takes for people to kind of catch up to that. And in between there's a lot going on, I feel like,
Yeah.
But then also we've seen a lot of companies try to get here too fast. And then they've just wasted a bunch of money because it's just like, we didn't really need to even go there yet because there's this human element of sort of catch up and also how this is even going to affect us now. It's kind of a loaded question, but I feel that for us, where a ton of people are running towards AI, I'm kind of going, all right, that's going to go. We're going to focus on this human piece. And we want, at least for our brand, we want to be known as where people need awesome, amazing humans. Like we want to be known as the human company, but with that fully capable to be leveraging the best AI tools and AI, solutions for
For
our
your
clients.
efficiency.
Because yeah, I mean, what you guys do, right? I mean, you guys are in the same space of just streamlining organizations through AI or just different these tools that are coming out. And we're doing that same thing, but in that, it's so important if you want to stay at the top to really remember the people that are in the organization and that human element. And that's kind of what we've
Well,
kind of
and I
come to.
liked your analogy of the Slack because I feel like a year ago it was this frenzy to get
Yeah,
to AI. And to your point, I think people who try to jump the shark
yeah,
then realize, well, wait a minute, I have all this other stuff to do. My employees aren't coming with me. And I think it was this, well, I'm going to fire everybody and the computer's going to do everything. And then they realized, oh, the computer doesn't know as much.
yep,
So how do we keep the people in the loop still and augment them using this technology?
yeah,
So if you kind of go on that realm, then there's two things I would ask is one is, do you see more need for training coming up about AI? So people are asking you to build training courses more internally to get people on AI?
mhm.
Or have you seen it, hey, I'm adopting an AI platform and I need to train my people? Because that's a little different. So have you seen any demand shift in terms of that?
More so on that second. It's funny because as you were saying that, I kind of wanted to say it's since AI became a big thing, the realization, I guess, to sum it up, is how dependent businesses are on people and who they're really serving is the people, right? And so to that question, a lot of our inquiries are more around we're making some changes, but it's more of the leadership, even the shifts that are happening and what the humans are going through, not so much the tool that needs to be trained on for the most part, right? It's not like, hey, we need to train people on how to do the AI. It's more of managing the human aspect of how the AI is affecting or changing, disrupting a little bit, and how to have conversations around these things and not have it be bring the team down or things like that. Mostly on custom adoption too of just the different tools that they're using as well.
That's super interesting. And yeah, it does. It always comes back down to the human,
Yeah.
doesn't it? But yeah, I guess it puts you probably in the psychologist, put the CEO or the VP or whoever you're working with on
Yeah.
the profile. Let's think about what is it that what's the fear, what's the emotion that we're
Yep.
dealing with.
Yeah.
It's not tool set. Tool set's fine. That's
Yes,
easy.
exactly. Yep, exactly. And even too on the marketing side, they're designed biologically to identify what are they using when you hunt? What's the word I'm looking for? Decoys. We're meant to identify inauthenticity
Right.
and fake things, right, for our safety and prosperity. And a lot of AI stuff, humans are really good at identifying. You're a robot calling me, but man, you sure sound human. And so we're finding that so much of business I think is going to be actually not so much focused so much on the tools that are doing it because like that's all awesome and we'll have team members that can manage that stuff, but a lot of the impact on people at least is I feel like we're going to be having more conversations actually with people and like people will make decisions on do I go with this company or this other company based on that interaction with the people that they're working with. And they're going to want to work with people that I just are great to work with. I feel the services will be automated in a lot of ways.
Right.
Got it.
Right.
So we'll still be screaming agent into the phone.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect. So, so let's talk about the learning kind of mindset. We like stats. So World Economic Forum says 44% of people's core job will change by 2027. So we're already in 2026. 12 months away, 13 months away, 15 months away, whatever you want to say, 2027 looks like. So, how, if people are thinking about this, how should they plan for learning? We've all worked in corporate America where this time of year, take your compliance training. I had somebody who joined a company and they're like, literally have 45 modules to go through. And so it's a two-part question. One is, if people know skills are changing, the company's going to change,
Hmm.
then what do you recommend or how do you guide people around what does a learning plan look like that isn't a one and done? Take
Hmm.
compliance training out of it. Like
Hmm.
it's
Yeah.
necessary. All the lawyers say you have to
Illegal.
do it.
But for true adoption,
Yeah, right. Exactly.
we're really internalizing it. What does the learning plan look like? What's best practice?
Yeah. I mean, one of the cool things that, because of AI and different tools that are coming out is you can really have a more tailored, customized experience, or it'll become more and more that way where it won't be a one size fits all education, both in public education, but also in corporate stuff. A lot of it will just be dumping knowledge into a machine that can spit out what you need it to according to the actual person who's engaging and interacting. So I think that we're going to find that there's going to be a lot more just customized curriculum experiences that can be mocked up, or at least it's going to drive the cost of e-learning down. By doing that, you will be able to better tailor it to the needs of the organization, but also like the individual cohorts or groups of team members, So I think that what people could anticipate is more relevance to the actual content, and hopefully they won't dread it as much. I think you'll be able to have a learner profile where like we know that you have this skill and ability. You don't really need to hear this stuff, but you need to hear this more. And so I think it'll become less dreadful. Beyond the compliance stuff, you know, everybody hates the compliance training. Like, oh man, I gotta go through.
You said something interesting about skills. Do you think that companies do a good job at aligning the skills I have as a person? Because I'm different than Andy, than you. So if we all worked in the same company, we have like this skill matrix, right? And I've seen
Yeah,
it 1,000 times with HR. Oh, let's get skill matrix, let's get jobs to be done, and all that stuff.
yeah,
Do you think that companies miss that part as you move towards personalization? And would you recommend that it's something they start profiling seems creepy.
yeah, yeah.
Creating
Right.
that
Yeah,
employee
in
profile,
today's age.
right?
Yeah, totally,
Of how that person now you could adjust their learning plan to your point.
totally. Yeah,
Listen, I spent 6 years being a coder. I don't need plan being a coder, but I know nothing about strategy type of thing. I don't know.
right. Yeah, exactly. Well, I think you'll be able to better, yeah, without sounding creepy, like profile a person and really know them and their natural inclinations. I mean, we all have sort of there's the what's the one index? There's different like psychological
Right.
evaluation things,
Exactly.
right? But
Yeah.
what's the learner index? I
Yeah.
forget.
Like N
The letters.
NTJI, what
Exactly.
is
That's
it?
a
Yeah. There's those ones.
Myers-Briggs.
Myers-Briggs.
Yeah,
Thank
Myers-Briggs.
there's Myers Briggs, right? Like the
There is
one
a
that are,
learning profile, as
yeah.
similarly. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, and what you're sort of naturally good at and where you can maybe what are your strengths, and I think we'll be able to better identify strengths and weaknesses, but then also, like, desires from people too. It's like, I think, it's kind of exciting because I feel that we'll be able to not guess as much, and there's actual be data on you by taking this thing. It's really clear that you'd like thrive at this, and is this interesting to you? Now I'll be able to facilitate your growth and your human development. I think that people can look forward to that for sure, and it's happening quickly, and so that part I love. I guess maybe I'm over optimistic. I feel it'll be really awesome for people within organizations because there'll be less guessing, and it'll be kind of we know you, and people won't be as frustrated because ideally their leaders are putting them in positions where they're going to thrive. And also they'll have challenges, which we all kind of need to feel like personal growth, and add value to the company.
I love that, and I think, as you're bringing down being able to take shorter formats and, really
Mhm.
customize learning. One of you mentioned micro learning.
Yeah.
What is learning in its essence, and how do you apply that?
It's funny because like we need micro learnings. And I have a love hate relationship with micro learnings. I think it gets
I can see that.
overused sometimes, where you just need 10 minutes of learning. It's like training usually is, learning experience is going to be about a half hour. People have to settle in and then two, they need enough information to understand. A lot of times people forget the why. We talked about that actually, Andy, about the last call.
Exactly. Yeah, you
Uh,
got to understand what's the context before
yeah,
any of the rest of it makes sense.
then that gets missed so much, where it's like people need, we operate on stories, our behaviors, everything that we do and our behaviors is, based on the stories that we have. And there's frameworks to stories that make them compelling to where we'd actually change behavior. Just if people understand the why behind why they're learning this and stuff like that, they're going to naturally want to take part in doing good things, right? To overcome the villain of whatever challenge the business is going through. And I think in general, people are going to become more aligned on like the vision and mission of businesses because they're going to have to. They're going to have stronger business acumen and understand big picture thinking a little bit more. And by doing that, they can kind of understand their role in the different positions that they're in. So yeah, that's kind of my thought on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in your mind, so you kind of said you're not a fan of microlearning. What do you think is the most effective way for people to consume? Because we all know, like, my son has ADHD. When he reads, he listens as he reads along with Audible because it helps
Yes.
him retain the information. So
Yes.
we know we have different learning profiles and styles. So for you, I mean, you obviously are not going to know that about your audience. Again, they're not going to say, "Hey, this guy has ADHD. This guy doesn't want to hear, doesn't want to see video." This. So what do you think, in your experience, 14 years, has been the most experiential, effective type of training?
Yeah, and I should clarify it. I should clarify that I'm not anti micro learning by any means, actually. It's just
It's the
overused.
over reliance.
Yeah, it's overused and people kind of like but no, there's totally a place for micro learnings. And I'm a huge proponent of like in time training where I'm stuck here. Where's my breakthrough? And there's an asset there right there that you can just watch and it's like, oh, boom, boom, boom. Like that's
Yeah.
just rapid,
Which is
like
fabulous.
we love that type of stuff. And we're a big proponent of ongoing refreshers too, and staying top of mind, tip of tongue, and micro learning really works well with that too. We'll sometimes set up drip training where they get a little bit here each day and a little bit here each day. And that's really powerful because people usually learn through like a sequence of events, right? And so if you can sequence content and sequence things to people, you can expand and build off of that scaffold. And so we love micro learning. There's definitely a place for that. We love designing and architecting training that people can just quickly get to and just get what they need.
What is the number one mistake you think people often make when doing a training plan, learning plan, engaging you guys in a training? Because I'm sure there are people come to you and say, of $20, what can I get? And then there
Yeah.
are people who are like, give me the most amazing experience ever and everything in
But
between.
I
Yeah.
only have $40.
Right. I
I
only have
mean,
$40.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, totally.
we've always run big transformational programs and change management and training. And I'm sure you see this all the time is, oh yeah, we got to do that. And you probably get called the 11th hour to go do the
Yeah.
Hail Mary. What are people getting wrong? And what would your advice be for people to do differently as they're engaging in training and a training?
Yeah. So there's two things that sound probably one of the biggest mistakes is that businesses budget for their LMS and they spend thousands and thousands of dollars on a learning management system that just deploys the training rather than focusing on, what the person's actually consuming is the actual experience and that content. And they blow the budget on this big LMS. It's like, why are we spending like thousands and thousands of dollars for this training that it just opens up a window and gives you a report? And so that's probably like one. And then probably the second one would be not appreciating I guess the instructional designer and how people learn and being really empathetical and not giving time and appreciation to wanting to make a good solid learning experience. And so a lot of times they're kind of it's a reactive thing because, oh, we're going through this thing and now we got to have this, and they don't appreciate what goes into it, and so then they'll usually under budget or they'll just not have enough time. It's like the switch of I have a funny URL that we'll use sometimes where it's like quick, quality, there's like speed, quality, and price. And it's like if you flip on speed and quality, price goes off, and then it's
Right.
like, and then or if it's like price is low. Anyways, you can't have all three on at the same time. And people just naturally don't understand kind of what goes into it. And I'm not complaining, but training is sort of one of those things where it's this afterthought of an organization. Hey, you should be thinking about training from like day one with your marketing and everything else. And we should be like right up there, but it's this silent hero, that helps organizations really scale and grow. But oftentimes there's just not an appreciation for just what goes into L&D because it is sort of like this investment or this cost, I guess. But
But that's a good point because I don't know that people see those two things because they think that because people lead with technology. So I think people naturally say, oh, if a learning person, I need an LMS. So I go
yeah,
buy an LMS. But it's an interesting way to reframe it because when we go talk to customers, they say, oh, we bought Salesforce, we bought this. Okay, why?
right.
yep,
Well, because we have
yeah,
strong platforms.
Right.
Okay, but that's not
Question still stands. Why?
right.
Like, what are you
yes,
trying to do? And that's, it
yes,
comes down to, okay, at the end of the day, like when we're all done with this, what does that look like?
yep,
Right.
yeah,
And now
yeah.
let's,
It's like the follow through thinking.
right.
Yeah,
It has nothing to do with the tool.
yeah, exactly. It's like the follow through thinking where it's like in golf, if you don't follow through, that can mean everything, right? So it's like, we got to hit the
Right
ball.
now.
What's the afterthought? Thinking of it through end to end, start with the end in mind.
Yeah.
Right.
What's the impact? And then the human aspect of why is this going to truly help our business with revenue and all that stuff. And that was going to be the third thing I was going to say is, yeah, people just kind of tend to really be able to place themselves in the head of their teammates that are going to go through the training, and understanding what good training is and chunking up content appropriately and speaking in a way that really changes behavior, communicates effectively to the learners.
Well, I think that's what we appreciate out of working with you because this is not my area of expertise, but I really appreciate back up and let me take care of what you need here. Is like you do need a solid plan. When you were talking with customers, the project manager, the program manager who is under pressure for budget,
Mhm.
the CFO, so and so can do this. Like if you configured it, you can train on it, you'll be fine. What's your response? How do you get
Yeah.
over that finish line of, hey,
Totally. Yeah. And like I don't want to sound like all businesses do it wrong. We're all in that together and there's all these different kind of constraints and things like that. And sometimes you got to just dish out what you can. Okay, this is 80% there and it's good. You know what I mean? This fulfills the need. And so, ultimately we always just seek to try to be a thought partner and we understand timelines and budget constraints. So we always just try to get the best bang for the buck and according to time. Not every learning object is going to be this perfect thing that's going to be wonderful, and we don't claim that, but we do the very do it really well and do the very best that can be done. We just try to understand that sometimes you kind of have to roll things out, and this is going to work for what we need. It's not, yeah, maybe this, this e-learning wasn't an ideal one, but it passes the information, and it's at least not death by PowerPoint. It's effective, it's good. So yeah, we always just try to be sensitive to that and just, be a good thought partner and help. And ultimately we'll do what our clients want us to, but always trying to be a thought partner
Raise
with
the
them.
bar a little.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Well, and that brings in the conversation of so so sometimes people come with you with budget constraints or a specific idea. How much of the ROI conversation do you get wrapped up in during the sales process, right?
We love,
Yeah,
or
go.
what were you going to say?
Yeah, no, because when you buy technology, they're like, oh, it's going to save you 33%.
Yes,
When you buy training, like you think that's really where you're saving the money because you're getting more efficient people using
totally.
the technology.
Totally.
And
Yeah.
I have yet to really see that approach from people on the ask side. How much of the ROI conversation comes up with you and clients?
Yeah. We love to try to get like, we love to try to wedge ourselves in and, be able to speak to that level of like, here's what you guys are going to see like with your numbers and these. I wish it was more because I'd like to be in that world more to like be able to quantify our impact,
Right.
more. But it's kind of like, I think everybody in the L&D space, like some shops like us, like they all kind of laugh at that. Some claim that they can like, prove it exactly. It costs money to prove that. You're gonna have to go interview and, I don't know of any magical tool yet that's like, you guys got this return. I would love for that to be the case, but like everybody knows that it's there though, still too, And so, but yeah, to your question, we train our project managers to try to think at that level and to try to go upstream to like the C-suite or the directors to ask those questions and really do that download because we would like to ultimately see that impact. We're not typically talking about it too much though. I mean, it's probably about 25% of the time where
Do you
we
think if
actually have
you
the
did, it
conversation.
would fundamentally change how people look at training?
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I mean, if it, and once again, I think that, yes, if you had some magical thing that could be like, this is the exact payment or, the ROI from this investment that you're going to make, I think definitely people's ears would perk up, and be more involved. It's mostly out of need, unfortunately.
But so much of
Yeah.
it goes to the context because when we're working together, if you don't have that context, what's the decision that I'm trying to make with this particular set of learning, or what's my outcome?
Yeah.
When you have people who understand that the tool supports them because the tool should always underpin what the business process
Yeah.
is, right?
Yeah.
When you
Yep.
start to put those conversations and really embed that into the learning, when you have people who can make better decisions and they can get to a higher, a more valuable asset, whatever it is that they're delivering, like
Totally.
that's real value and
Totally.
makes it worth the investment.
Right.
Yeah, and I think I would assume that you guys probably had that conversation a little bit more. I mean, do you guys or were you guys
100%.
played that
I
way?
think
Yeah.
typically in the transformations, that's the lead. You don't have a business case without, at the end of this, we either have efficiency, we are taking cost out, we are bringing in more dollars in
Right.
the door,
Yes,
by whatever way it is. But absolutely part of it. And I think that's
love it.
where, we tend to be, really, you cannot cut training, you cannot
Right.
cut.
Mhm.
Now, that doesn't mean that we're not under pressure.
Totally, yeah. Right.
So
Yep,
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, I used to work with this woman, and we'd always joke, and we're like, the hip bone's connected to the leg bone type thing, right?
yeah. Yep.
And so we always had, I love connect dots. Like this is the vision I always want to paint for a client or
Mhm,
when I've worked at companies. And it's frustrating because when you talk about transformation, when you talk about implementation of technology, to Andy's
mhm,
point, change management always comes out.
mhm.
I worked tons of consulting firms. It's the first line item a client cuts. Oh, we
Yeah.
can do that in the house. Yeah, we have somebody. Who do you have? Barbara, who sits over there.
Yep.
She has 10% of her time over the next 2 weeks that she can spend on your project to help you do that. And you're like,
easy
has
lift.
Barbara ever seen the technology? No.
Yeah.
Does Barbara understand the business process? No. Hers useless. Like,
Yeah,
no
part of
offense
the
to
reason and
Barbara.
you're
She's
actually
useless.
having an opportunity cost now because you're pulling her away and she's confused and she doesn't it's not in her workflow and it's just like,
Right.
yeah.
And so when you think of all that connected pieces of a transformation or a large scale implementation of technology, or even just the ongoing need of upskilling, right? I don't know, or I haven't seen, and maybe you have, that connective tissue within organizations. I feel like L&D sits over here.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else is swirling around over here, and then we need somebody from there. Well, I don't have anybody because my department has 2 people.
Yeah.
And you have to do it for a 10,000 person company or a, whatever the size company it is. So I feel like that part of learning is still very much misunderstood.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And it's funny how you talk about the business because you're saying, well, it's a human business. And
Mm-hmm.
it's funny that companies don't see, well, here are the people I'm asking to go do something.
Yeah.
Better, different, fill in the blank.
Yeah.
But I don't want to pay the money to have them know what they're doing.
Totally. Totally. Yeah. It's like a sports team, it's like if you're not paying for training for your football team members, you know what I mean? They can't be at their peak performance. But how do you put a dollar amount to how much they train? And but I love those conversations actually. We do though try to seek we definitely are asking the questions of what impact, what is this for, and what is their outcome, what is their desired outcome and desired goal. I wish it was just more quantifiable with dollar amounts, but
So does
yeah.
every CFO in America. Let's be real. Every
Right.
transformation project, we've all got the same, how do you prove the ROI? And the other thing
Yeah.
is not immediate. Learning, it's the same thing. Some of it's repetition. And so it takes that, that continuum in order to really see it. So fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what percentage of people do you think do the one and done versus come back to you and say, hey, we've finished this and we now need to upskill? Do you feel like people do that more than we actually believe they're doing it? Or is
Yeah.
it you coming back to them and saying, we built this module a year ago, what's next?
Yeah. We try to be really strong at that and ask how things are going. As far as people coming back on the same topic or taking things to another level
Yeah.
beyond sort of what we built. It's more rare to have them come back to us and ask that. And that's a good question that you asked. And it's something for us to sit with. Yeah, I mean, we'll make updates to courses and things as
Sure.
they kind of migrated. That's pretty common. And they come back to our services. They're we love building this with you guys, and we have really good return, rate. But most of the time it's new topics or new things that they're kind
An
of new to.
optimization of some
Right.
sort.
It's not really optimizing it, and that's a really good thing. I'm glad that you guys actually mentioned that because that's something that we could follow up on. And
Yeah, because I mean, I think if you think of college, you do intro to psychology and then you do advanced psychology. Each year it progresses, or each year you're learning. But when you
Yep.
think about as an employee into a company, they might have introductory training. Let's just say a sales rep that has been there 2 years. Well, you already know what to do. Yeah, but you haven't challenged my skills.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Right.
how do I know we're actually doing it? So there's a little bit different between I want to bring a college graduate in and I'm going to groom them the way we want them groomed, right? Like when
Right.
you join Accenture as somebody out of college, you go to St. Charles and you go through 2 weeks of training. Every time you get promoted, you go to St. Charles and you go through a week of training because they want you to do things the Accenture
Totally.
way. So it's like this kind of gradual, as you reach these different levels, you need to be having different conversations.
Mm-hmm.
I find it odd that companies don't think of it that way. Just because you're a seasoned person
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean you're actually good at your job. I don't
Yes.
mean that
Totally.
insultingly. You may be proficient at doing something, but it's a little
But
different.
it goes to, it goes to what Cam was saying early too with, okay, as you get more connected to what people know, then your learning opportunity comes around for,
Yeah.
we got to get a little bit deeper here.
Yeah. Totally.
But as we
Yeah.
continue, the AI is going to help us analyze some of that.
Right.
Yeah.
More data, more visibility into what's working, what's not.
How do you guys feel about training the robots? Is that something on the roadmap?
Training with robots. Yeah.
Training the robots.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. We're actually playing around with some cool tools lately. There's one called Play Avatar. It's a really fun one. In fact, we baked it inside of an articulate storyline file to where essentially what it is though, it's like an avatar, right? But you can program the avatar so you can create a persona like, hey, you are an interior designer and you're upset, and you just purchased this furniture from this warehouse, and you're upset, and you're trying to get to the bottom line of, like, you can just speak into it, and it uses ChatGPT on the back end, and then it kind of comes up with some assumptions, and so you program this thing, and her name's Emily, and she speaks to you as if she is like totally real, and then it's like role playing, right? And you can have the learner role play with it, and then she seems very real, and then it spits out a whole report.
But
So it's like, here's your empathy score. Yeah, here's you covered the topics that you needed to, and that part's really awesome. We baked that into a whole training for customer service recently that was really fun.
exactly. I was gonna say for sales or customer success,
Yeah.
like to get that feedback and that practice in real time,
Yeah.
like
Yep.
yes, we need that in biz dev.
Right.
When you
Yes.
build that one, call us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll show you a little sample of it. I'll shoot it over after this call. It's just a URL, and I recorded myself using the tool inside of the story that we built. There's like a scenario thing, but we could get it to where it would literally flip on the camera. And now I got to sing the song. I can't, like, with a lot of e-learning traditionally, it's like presets. It's like, here's this pre-recorded video, or you could kind of fake it, because you could be like, okay, if they select this answer, have it say this thing, or if they select this answer, and I got to sing the song now. I can't just, talk about theory or
That's
fudge
real
my way
learning.
through.
That's when you've taken it on and you can I
And
like
that's
the
what I'm talking
idea.
about, because it documents that, and it'll
Yeah,
show the report at the end of the video if you watch it, but I'll
super
show that too.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the idea, but there is also the other side of augmented reality that now says, well, we don't want to deal with a person anymore. So we're going to be more comfortable talking to a computer and a
Yes.
computer evaluating me than a
Yep.
person. And
Yep.
is that forcing again, back to this theme of the human element, is
Yep.
it forcing people to be
True.
more afraid to engage in human activity because I put the goggles on
Right.
and I'm in this virtual world. The second I take it off, nobody knew what happened in that
And I was a
virtual
kid who went
world.
to school during COVID and
Right.
yeah,
Totally.
whole other topic. No.
Well, yeah.
There it is. But I mean, it's like, as
No,
we
totally.
It's
delve
human.
into this world of AI, I mean, this human versus computer versus how people learn or how people consume content is going to become really interesting, because to your point, during COVID, there's now all these studies coming out that people who were remote, especially in high school, it hurt their social ability,
100%.
that they were, indoctrinated into whatever thing they were into online, whether it's, Dungeons and Dragons or
Yep.
whatever
Yep.
whatever the thing is you're
World
in.
of Warcraft, whatever it is. Yeah.
Right. And so I just wonder, as we get more into realistic augmented reality, what does that mean for
Oh my gosh, totally. Yeah.
for that human aspect, which we keep on coming back to, right?
I was just saying, that's kind of where I've like tried to, like, whenever I think AI, I always try to put a human right there next to it, because it's like,
Right.
okay, don't
Yeah.
forget what's happening to that human at that time, because there's the skills of human just interaction, and we're going to be building out this training for this awesome company that teaches how to read the room and with people, and we're like, should we use robots, like AI avatars? And we're like, crap, like, we got to probably hire actors for this, because not quite there, anyways, but
Interesting.
totally, it goes both ways. I think that it'll foster a cool space for us to appreciate people, and there'll be like more conversations, hopefully. But I do think, though, that there is this sort of vacuum that can happen where people are all of a sudden sucked into this virtual world and they don't even know how to talk to real people. You know what I mean? So yeah.
This has been so interesting, and I know it could go forever.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. We have rapid fire ending. Are you ready? What one AI tool every learning professional should be using right now?
AI tool. Oh boy. I mean, ChatGPT is one, or, yeah. Well, check out Play Avatar for L&D people. That one's a fun one. That one's really, really neat. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Biggest
It's
mistake company,
play-avatar.com, I believe. So
Okay.
yeah.
Perfect.
biggest mistake companies make in their training strategy.
In their training strategy, not giving enough thought into time and being empathetical to the learner.
If you have one piece of advice to someone who's worried about AI taking their job,
I'd just say you have time to think about it. But think about it, though. Yeah.
yeah, excellent.
What's your one prediction about learning in the year 2030 that might surprise people? Think we're like 4 years away from 2030. What do you think?
Jeez. It'll be more, yeah, you'll be talking more with human real computers.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
non-human.
Yeah, non-human. Yeah, you'll be speaking more with non-human. You'll be having more non-human, but human realistic experiences, I think.
Until then, we'll keep the humans.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
all on board with human-led innovation and
Yep.
partnership. Once again, thank you so much, Cam. We love talking to you.
Yeah. Cam, tell us where people can find you.
Thanks so much. Yeah. keylearningstudios.com is our website. There's a form there if you want to fill out, but you can find me on LinkedIn and send me a message, Cameron Brewer on LinkedIn, but keylearningstudios.com is our website. I'd love to talk with anybody. Thank you. It's been super fun.
We'll talk to you soon.
You guys are awesome.
Thank you so much.
See ya.
Yeah.
1, 2.